Jim?
88 skips. And he has this interesting wind up there. It almost reminds me of a Statue of Liberty type stand. Whoa, look at that.
That's a big first toss. Nice chuck.
This is the biggest flex you could ever have. You know how many people try to just skip it 3 times? I am singing my own praises if I get it 3 times. This guy's got a 42, please. Also, stone skipping, the greatest new addition to Ocho Day.
This is SportsCenter.
Hey, I'm Marissa Roberto, and as you saw off the cold open, it is officially Ocho Day. And we'll get to all your favorite weird, obscure sports next segment. But we gotta start in Paris once again, as Canada just wrapped up their group stage against Spain. And after back and forth first, Canada really pulled ahead in the second, thanks to a great quarter from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who finished with a game-high 20. But Spain would not go away. They cut it to 3 late in the fourth, but a crucial Andrew Nembhard jumper put Canada back up 5. This was hands down his best game of the tourney, as he finished with 18 on an incredible 8 of 10 shooting. This one literally went down to the final seconds, as Canada survived an air ball buzzer beater attempt from Spain and win 88-85. Spain is officially eliminated with a loss, as Canada wins the group, finishing the group stage unbeaten, and is guaranteed a top 3 seed for the knockouts. However, we still don't know if Canada managed to get themselves in the top pot or not, which is made up of only 2 teams. But there will definitely be a lot of eyes on that Germany-France game that just tipped off, with the hope being to get to the top pot, because that's where we assume the Americans will be. And if both Canada and the US are there, they will avoid each other until a potential gold medal game. As you saw at the top of the show, we are officially deep into the Ocho. It's usually just one day a year where we get ESPN 8 and all the weird, obscure sports that come with it. But this year it's actually a 4-day extravaganza that started last night, featuring competitions like stein holding. Yeah, who can hold a stein filled with beer the longest? This is an important skill. Just look at that guy's face. And of course, everyone's favorite, slippery stairs. You know, you see it happen every year, and you wonder why people sign up, but as I watch people try to go up the slippery stairs, I too believe I could go up the slippery stairs, so it makes sense why there's so many entrants. But we had some new stuff this year that was just mind-blowing. And let's start with something we're all qualified to compete in. Cherry pit spitting. And in case you're wondering, yes, that went 35 feet. They even measure it and everything like they're playing bocce. But this replay is a little bizarre because I don't know if we need to see that tongue movement to get the velocity. Yeah, no, cherry pit spitting? I mean, if you're in the bush in Sask, you're getting cherries in the summer and you're spitting. I mean, everyone has the experience. Anyone can sign up. The next one is one of my favorites. It's waiter and waitress.
And they're off. The Boathouse Goons in lane 1 and the Texas Two-Steppers in lane 2. They slalom through the tables as the host puts down the plates.
It would be really nice if the trays were actually set up correctly instead of just dishes downwards.
And the host for the Goons is leaning across the table. Doesn't look proper to me. What's your thoughts, Larry?
It's great if you'd like to accentuate your back hair. Otherwise, it's weird.
Wait, I used to know the criteria to get into this competition. What the heck? These men have never waited a table in their life. Why would you lean over like that? Okay, anyway, the commentating. This is the best sport. And let's finish with a little robot fighting.
A stupid robot is essentially a life-sized humanoid-shaped puppet made out of garbage. Its joints and limbs are held together with wire loops, and the whole thing is controlled with poles attached to its hands and its feet.
Oh my gosh, it's microwave versus toaster. This is horrendous. Who even wins? How do you win? Ocho Day is just the perfect amalgamation of a bunch of people who could never compete in the Olympics, but this is their Olympics, you know? It's like in Vegas Vacation when Clark goes to the other casino where he like guesses the number, you know? All these games that don't really make any sense. And the buffet that's just completely subpar. It's like that, but it's so entertaining we can't look away. Over to the CFL, and Week 9 continues tonight with the Alouettes and Tiger Cats. And for God's sakes, will the real Ticats please stand up? Because starting the season with 5 straight losses, the Tabbies emerged from the bye week and put together back-to-back wins. Over those 2 dubs, Bo Levi Mitchell has been falling out, throwing for nearly 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. However, the first-place Owls should be a tough test for both, as they've given up the fewest points league-wide. Meanwhile, the Owls have an obstacle of their own, as Cody Fajardo isn't quite ready to return from injury. And you know what that means. Welcome to the Davis-Alexander Show. Heading into last week's game, Alexander only had 21 passing attempts, over 26 career games with Montreal. But when called upon while trailing Saski in the second half, he stepped up and delivered, throwing 2 touchdown passes to Reggie White Jr. in a come-from-behind win over the Riders. Which is, you know, great for them, but what about the Saski babies who were on a little run there? I don't like the loss. Regardless, nobody's cheering against this guy after hearing this.
You know, there's going to be some good, there's going to be some bad. I'll always remember this one for sure. And then real quick, I just want to give a shout out to my dad. He's battling cancer right now. We're with him every step of the way, and I love him to death, and yeah.
I know it's just the little things, but it does mean the world when athletes kind of open up their lives just a little bit, a little window into their life and what they're going through off of the field. That was really sweet. And we're not the only Davis-Alexander believers, as FanDuel has Montreal as 4.5-point favorites tonight, despite the injury to Fajardo. And you can watch the game tonight on TSN. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, with kickoff going at 7:30. The NFL returned to our lives last night with a Hall of Fame game. And while we didn't see CJ Stroud or Caleb Williams, we did get our first look at the NFL's new kickoff. Now, instead of me explaining this one to you, let's hear from Joe Buck from last night's game, because it's impossible to top his breakdown in this animation.
Teams kick off from the 35. The 10 players in the kicking team start at the opponent's 40. At least 9 receiving team players must be in the setup zone between their own 30 and 35. Play begins when the ball's touched or hits the ground in the end zone or landing zone, the area between the receiving team's goal line and the 20. Touchbacks that land in the end zone are brought out to the 30. Touchbacks that roll into the end zone from the landing zone are brought out to the 20. You got all that?
Okay, so now that we know the rules, how did it look in game 1? Well, the answer is a lot like it did last year, as the opening kickoff was returned to the 26-yard line. Very similar to most kickoffs last year. But let's look at the data and look how all kickoffs from last night compared to last season. There were 8 kickoffs last night, with 7 being returns, going for an average of 22.6 yards per return, with 1 touchback going to the 25. So 12.5 kickoffs from last night ended in touchbacks, which is very positive considering in 2023, the NFL had an all-time high of 77% of kickoffs ending in touchbacks. So more returns means more action, which is good because no one likes a touchback. Now, what wasn't encouraging was the average starting field position. As of the 8 kickoffs last night, they averaged the 26.1 yard line for where the drive began. And last year, the average starting field position after kickoffs was the 25.2. So yeah, not much progress there, but hey, it's only one preseason game. So we will celebrate lesser touchbacks and hope a few of these start to get broken in the future. That's it for me today. I'm off most of next week, but I will see you back here on Friday. Have a good one.